In law enforcement, time, distance, and cover are your only friends. When you sacrifice distance, you sacrifice the time you need to make a decision. On December 27th, officers in Vancouver, Washington, not Canada, responded to a call that forced them into a split-second decision. But the question we are asking today is simple. Did the suspect create the exigency, or did the officers create it by pushing up too far, too fast? This is Critical Incident Report. Let's look at the footage. Context matters. This wasn't a barricade. It was an exposed encounter. The call comes in just before midnight. A mother reports that her daughter's partner, 44-year-old Perry Sellars, has fired a shot. Crucially, the 911 caller is outside the home, waiting for police. Her daughter is with her, near the front door. This changes the officers' mission immediately. They aren't there to surround and call out. They are walking into an active scene where the reporting party is fully exposed in the driveway. When officers arrive, they don't have the luxury of waiting down the street. They have to close the distance to put themselves between the victims and the threat. Watch the arrival. Officer Donaldson and Officer Holmquist move up the driveway rapidly. Why? Because the suspect, Perry Sellars, is reported to be lying in the side yard, just around the corner from where the family is standing. This is the fatal funnel, but for a different reason. The officers are forced to stack up in the open to cover the civilians. However, look at the positioning. The civilians are still in the danger zone. The tactical critique here is evacuation versus confrontation. Could the officers have pulled the family back to safety before engaging? By leaving them near the door and driveway, the officers are locked into a must-shoot scenario if Sellars appears. Here is the moment of contact. Perry Sellars emerges from the side yard. He is walking around the corner, heading toward the front of the garage, directly toward where the family and officers are located. He is walking slowly. The gun is in his right hand, pointed down at the asphalt. Officers scream, "Drop it!" But notice the geometry. If Sellars takes 5 more steps, he closes the distance to the family. Because the civilians were never evacuated, the officers have zero margin for error. They cannot wait to see if he surrenders. They interpret his movement toward the family as an imminent deadly threat. Officer Donaldson fires. Officer Holmquist follows. Sellars drops immediately. So, was this justified? Legally? Almost certainly. Defense of a third party allows officers to use deadly force if they believe a suspect is moving to attack a victim. Since Sellars was walking toward the family with a gun, the shooting is legally sound. But tactically, it is a harsh lesson in scene security. If the victims had been pulled back to the street immediately upon arrival, the officers could have used distance and cover. They could have slowed this down. Instead, the proximity of the family forced a split-second execution. Perry Sellars is dead because he walked toward police and family with a gun in his hand. But this tragedy highlights a critical rule: separation. If you don't separate the victims from the threat, you force a confrontation that ends only one way. Was this a necessary protection of the family or a failure to evacuate? Let me know in the comments. I'm Eugene, and this is the Critical Incident Report. Stay safe.